think that's one of the things that's missing is perspective.
I agree.
You don't see that on Twitter. Fighting game Twitter isn't real, by the way, guys. Fighting game Twitter isn't real. Look me in the eyes. Fighting game Twitter isn't real. Okay. Like, so ShinKensou, it is a pleasure to have you on. We're on Crossup. We're back again. Thanks for hopping on. Really appreciate your time.
Yes,
what do you
sir.
want to tell the people? How about we start with sort of like an elevator pitch into ShinKensou? What can we expect from you if we take a look at your content?
A guy that's very in-depth, very thorough. I'm very big on attention to detail. I love to find the deeper things, finding meaning beyond meaning. I like to know why something works, why it ticks, why a character would do this, why a player would do this. I love to get to the nitty-gritty. More of an advanced kind of guy when you see my content. I love to I just love to dig deep. I have to know why. There has to be a reason, and there's always a reason. Trust. So that's what you'll get from me, 100%.
Are you the kind of guy that likes to take apart things and like figure out how it works?
100%. I can sit in a training mode for a fighting game for a week or two without playing a single person until I figured out enough to attack people and or defend. Because fighting games in general, they're just, games as a whole. I've always had this thing with games where I just love to explore. So I'm that guy that would play an RPG, not look at a strategy guide, and just go press the A button in every house to see if I find some kind of secret item for hours, weeks, months, and then I'll finish the game. Because it's like, hey, I paid for it, so I want to explore. I want to see the world. I want to see what's in here.
Hey, you get a bang for your buck. I like that, actually. I might have to
Exactly.
steal that at some point.
Go for it. Right on.
You explore a lot of games. We're going to touch on that a bit, but I want to rewind back to, I guess, like an auto bio here. The name ShinKensou, just Kensou. What exactly does that mean to you? And sort of, how'd you come up with that name?
So originally, it was just Kensou. There was no Shin or anything like that. And this dates all the way back to the Shoryuken.com days. This is back when Shoryuken wasn't just a news site for fighting games. It was actually a big forum. And back then, their forgot password system was pretty bad.
Okay.
I forgot my password for Kensou, so I was like, think of a word. Shinku Hadouken. All right, take off the Hadouken. Just put shit in front of it. That's literally how it came to be. And after a while, I made it a play on words. So sometimes people be like, I go to tournaments, they'll be like, ShinKensou? I'm like, no, just Kensou. And they're like, just put Kensou. And I'm like, no, just Kensou. We are evolving. We're replacing the Shin to just Kensou. So when people see it, they're like, is it really ShinKensou? Yeah, it is him, just. So it's kind of like, you ever seen the Boondocks, a pimp named Slickback? And he says, nah, say the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's the whole thing, just Kensou. So, but either way, any alias, it's either ShinKensou, just Kensou, or literally just Kensou.
Dude, I got the same thing. Before I was like Xeno, and I was like, Xeno sounds whack. I'm Luminous, and I'm like, no, just Lumi, and I'm like, whatever you want to call me at this point. A spade's a spade. Like, you could call me
right.
Whatever.
After a certain point, you're just like, all right, dude, you got it.
Yeah. For
sure.
So
That's the origin.
So you mentioned the SRK forums. I want to dive into that a bit and sort of that's a huge throwback. First of all, when exactly did you start fighting games, or at least start the love of fighting games?
As a kid, I grew up in the Street Fighter 2 era, Fatal Fury, the early arcade days, right? And naturally, I would go to the arcades. Actually, I'll put it this way. My mom and my dad used to go grocery shopping roughly every week or every 2 weeks or so. And inside the grocery store is, the Street Fighters, all the arcade games, And literally my mom would be like, here's $5 in quarters. Stay over there. We'll be done the grocery shopping soon because we know we don't want to see us picking up cereal. It's like, sweet. So me and my brother would just sit there and mash buttons on that. And I used to wonder, man, why can't I play these games at home? But, I grew up in the arcade, and it kind of picked up as I got older, but I was normally just action games, action RPGs, stuff like that. Just typical gamer stuff, but I would say like around the time maybe like combo videos started becoming a thing, maybe some around, I was maybe like 14 or 15. I was like, man, this is, believe it or not, combo videos really inspired me to want to play fighting games that much more seriously, on top of just beating my friends.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It normally starts there, right? Like, you have, you know, a group of friends that play, and, you know, you just, you know, your friend's beating you, and you're like, I don't want to lose this guy anymore. You know, you're playing your favorite characters, not realizing that they're low tier, and they're playing top tier. They don't know if they're playing top tier, and you're just getting beat up, and just like, why? But, you know, I don't know. I just found that love for it, just trying to be like the best among my friends, and literally going from arcade to arcade after a certain point. And so I would say maybe around like, shoot, from the moment I could drive a car, man, I would go to any arcade, just try to play, just try to get good, and just, I don't know, get past my friends and see that there was like more out there. And I don't know, I had a lot of people pushing me then, but yeah, I would say for competitive though, probably around like 17, 18 is when I started really competing, and then here we are now. It took me on the journey all the way here.
Yeah. 17 and 18. That is definitely quite a journey. And what game did you like absolutely start in? Like, would you say in that around that time?
I would say Capcom versus SNK2.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
CVS2, like CVS2, Marvel 2, like those games. Marvel was I was more so a Marvel head, but you know, love the craziness. But I was still I was kind of a mixed kid when it came to like Capcom and SNK. I liked the aesthetics of SNK more than Capcom, but you know, I definitely appreciated both of them, right?
Sure.
But it was just really cool to see like Kyo versus Ryu and like Yori, you know, all these SNK characters versus Capcom characters. I'm like, whoa, you know, it just blew me away, and I wanted to be just that good at it. So
yeah,
CVS2 was definitely the one. That was the one that kickstarted it all.
And I mean, even putting myself in your shoes, right? Oftentimes you saw like a separation of people that are like, oh, I'm like an SNK, like, you know, King of Fighters, and you know, all of that is like, that's the best fighting game. And then you have the people that are like, no, Street Fighter is the best. And now you got one machine where both players can duke it out and really, like, all I'm saying is, if I'm a little too young for arcade stuff, unfortunately, I missed the mark on that, but that would have blown my mind, like, easily.
I'm still a firm believer, and I'll put this out here for you and your people watching this. I'm still a big firm believer of, like, you know, I'm not gonna get too big on Street Fighter 6 right now because that game's looking litty right now. But I still say that there is one game that if it was to come out, I think it would definitely shake up the landscape, and it's still a Capcom versus SNK 3. I think if SNK and Capcom can get over their hurdle business-wise, I do believe that is one game that would just shake up the whole landscape of the FGC, like, bar none. Like, Street Fighter 6 is already showing that, right? Now imagine if they did a Capcom versus SNK 3 in that style, or even Street Fighter 5 style, you know? I mean, they already hit the mark with Street Fighter Cross Tekken. We won't get into that because that game definitely went way past what it should have done. But, you know, just having that kind of crossover would have been huge again, you know, to see again. Oh.
Yeah, I agree. And like you see it now. There's people itching for a new Hyper Fighter, Tag Fighter, or just like maybe some more of the SNK style where you have the team and stuff like that. That's people feel like that's missing, because I guess the most modern example you could use is Dragon Ball Fighters. I can't. I'm
Marvel Infinite.
Marvel Infinite. Netcode's great, by the way. Awesome netcode. You know, unfortunately, it didn't get a, you know.
It definitely didn't hit the mark, but it had a lot of cool ideas. Definitely, like, I mean, the tag fighters that we got recently were like, what, Dragon Ball Fighters, BB Tag, and Marvel Infinite for the most part. And it's like, it's that action, that style of that chaotic gameplay, you know. Me personally, I love it. And a lot of people love that too. But yeah, we're definitely missing one of those in the landscape right now. But who knows? Project L. Project L. That could be the one. That could be the one.
Shout out to the Cannons. I actually met them during Combo Breaker. And they're a lot taller than I imagined. I don't know why, and like this isn't any disrespect whatsoever. I was like, these guys look a little short, but I walked up, I was like, oh hey, what's up, dude?
Hey,
and I was like,
how you doing?
good stuff, saying hi and all that. That was really cool to see. But yeah, so Capcom versus SNK2, would you say is like your milestone game, right? That's like we're getting into maybe some of the meat and bones of what fighting games are. We're getting better at them. Are there any other like games that you would like to highlight in that sort of like journey?
Oh, easy. Guilty Gear.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, Guilty Gear was. I don't even know how to explain Guilty Gear, but I'd always played the series. I have the first game when it first came out in '98. I was like, this looks cool. And it came out at the same time as Street Fighter Alpha 3 on console. And I was like, yo, what? Whoa, this game looks sick. Now, granted, it's not the best game. It's definitely jank. But the music was cool. The character designs were cool. It was just a different kind of fighting game. Guilty Gear X comes out. Cool. Imported. I'm like, this is sick. Guilty Gear XX comes out. And I'm like, we rallied to get our arcade owner to get a cab for Guilty Gear. And he got 2. And we were like, it's like, oh my God, Guilty Gear, we get to play. And let's just say, as I dove into Guilty Gear, I literally just gained a galaxy brain. I was like, there's so much here. I did not know fighting games could be played this way. I didn't know that, you could have this much fun playing a fighting game. And I mean, I had fun playing other fighting games, right? But, Guilty Gear was a gigantic, I don't know, this is a big open world sandbox kind of game that if you took the time out to learn it, it's definitely rewarding. And it's not like that for any other game, every other fighting game is very, very rewarding. But
of course.
It's just its system was so unique in itself that I didn't even know what to say. I was blown away.
Yeah, and you start to realize after a while that looking at Guilty Gear specifically, I guess as a Guilty Gear newbie, right? I think the apparent depth of the game is a lot simpler, or not simpler, but easier to just see that there is depth because all of these characters do crazy stuff, as opposed to maybe a traditional fighter where the really complicated stuff is way past the fundamentals. In order to anti-air in Guilty Gear outside of 6P, it's super hyper character specific for 90% of the stuff that you're doing. So it feels like you're learning a completely different game when you just move your cursor a little bit in the character select screen.
Oh yeah,
right?
100%.
So yeah,
100%.
So
I don't know.
You tasted the depth from Guilty Gear. You're like, whoa, this is an abyss.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably guess the next question I'm gonna ask.
Oh.
Why Chip?
Of course.
Yeah.
Why Chip? Well, let's take it back to the arcade era.
Okay.
We play Final Fight. Who do we play? Guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We played any Capcom game that had a ninja, so obviously that's Strider. Play Captain Commando, obviously we play the ninja character. It's just I have a long list of just playing ninja characters just across the board. Marvel vs. Capcom, Strider. I just have this big history with ninjas and Samurai Showdown, Galford, Hanzo. So it's Chip was the middle ground of Strider and Galford for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how else to explain it, but he is the embodiment of what I enjoy in a fighting game. 100%. Fast character, obviously he dies fast, right? But
sure.
He has everything that any character would ever need to win and or be competitive, and in addition, he's just fun. Yeah, I get it, he's the weeb character, I get it, I trust me, I've heard of it for a long time, but it's just I also have this thing for characters that evolve, and throughout each game, I'll be a lore monster here for a second.
Go for it.
He actually evolves as a character.
Yes.
He's not just I'm typical ninja in the game just trying to find something. He went from being first game, he's hell-bent on revenge for his master dying, and then after the game, he's just like, wait a minute, there's more to it than this. The next game, I need to get stronger. The next game, I'm Guilty Gear XX, he's like, I'm gonna shoot to be president, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other, and he works behind the scenes and does all this crazy stuff. Fast forward to Xrd, he's wiser, he's smarter, he takes like a big role in the story mode. He's more akin to a lot of the cast members. They all respect him and recognize him. He plays a big key role. Hell, he tells Kai in the story mode, hey man, get your shit together, dude. Like, you're messing up. Literally, in his story mode, he tells Kai straight up, hey dude. He tells a king, hey man, you need to help your people. You're messing up. I just want you to know that, you know? And then you fast forward now into Strive, and like, he's that much wiser, you know? So he's not just like typical ninja, I'm in the game, you know, behind the shadows type character. Nah, you know, he's actually running things, you know, he has a very pivotal point, or he plays a very significant role in the story. So it's just seeing him go that route as like a character, you know, it just helped me attach to him even more. And he's just cool. Like, he's just cool.
He's an American drug addict that got clean and studied ninjutsu, and now he's like the president of a country. And you can even see it in his lines, right? In Guilty Gear, he's always like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, he's like constantly like about it. Like, he's got Black Air Force energy, 1000% throughout the whole thing.
The minute you step up to him, he's like, oh, that's how you feel? Oh, like, okay, I give you, and I always meme this right here. Yeah. In Xrd, there's a moment where he fights Bedman, and he's like, I can feel you hating from way over here. Like, damn, what a character. That's actually a line. That's actually a line in the story mode. I'm like, yo, Arxis, thank you. Yes, personify my boy. Yes, push him forward. Yeah. So it's just really cool to see his character development, and I don't know, I've always just felt very attached to the character. Like, even when, you know, people tell me he's low tier, this, that, the other, I'm like, he's the one character where I always felt like I could do it. Yeah. Like, no matter how hard the matchup, no matter, even there's times I'm not gonna lie, I switched characters before, and I'm just like, you know what? Buckle down, Kev. It's not impossible. Like, this game has everything you need. You just need to be better at it. And I don't know, that just cue Eye of the Tiger. You know, that's just
I was just about to mention that. I mean, just to be a nerd for a second, play the hero. It literally just describes how you got to play Chip.
Yes, 100%. That whole song is basically Chip.
It's just instructions on how to play the character. Just listen to the song, guys. Seriously, it writes itself. Come on, guys.
100%, 100%.
And I kind of want to dig a little deeper about this, because you said ninjas, you like ninjas, and I heard that you like kung fu movies.
Oh man, do I? Absolutely, 100%.
So I gotta know at least your favorite, or maybe like a top 3, and why it's Gymkata.
A Gymkata? No way.
Have you seen Gymkata?
Okay. I remember the name.
Yeah.
I remember the name. I don't remember it 100%.
Dude, it's so bad. It's like, okay. Yeah, it's like this American like gold gymnast, like Olympian, like won a gold medal. And since he won like a gold medal in the Olympics that year, they're like, you need a movie. We're making you a movie. And you're going to be like a kung fu guy. But since he's a gymnast and doesn't really do like martial arts like that, before he punches a dude, he'll do like 5 backflips in a row, and then he'll do the punch. Or like he'll do like a split, like a Van Damme thing, or something like that.
Sounds like Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah.
With like Chris Farley.
Yeah, a little bit more campy than that, I would say, which is hard to do, but they achieve it.
Let's see here. I'll go with a top 3 or maybe a top 5.
Okay.
So I would say probably, first off, I'm a big fan of Donnie Yen. So yes. most of Donnie Yen movies are gonna be in this list. So I would say probably SPL, or in English is Killzone. Probably after that would be Flashpoint. Another Donnie Yen movie. And another Donnie Yen movie would probably be Dragon Tiger Gate. And it's most likely because that one's probably on the list because I used to read the Chinese comic book. It's basically like their Double Dragon, Streets of Rage style movie, comic book, or whatever. It'd probably be those 3 All Donnie Yen movies. That's all. That's all I can say. It's pretty much all Donnie Yen movies.
Yeah, yeah. Donnie Yen is sick. I mean, I've only pretty much watched like the Yip Man series. Even then, it's like, wow,
Oh man,
dude's
please,
talented.
I encourage you go watch Killzone.
I
That
will.
has some of the most amazing. There's a knife fight. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, say less.
And that knife fight is ridiculous. It's
I'll
pretty
put it on my list. I'll put it on my my. I'll put it a little higher because I have a huge backlog. I haven't even watched like the Batman yet. Like, it's so hard to catch up on things right now for me.
Go watch that.
Yeah.
Or you know what? It'll eventually be on Netflix or whatever. So whenever it's there, definitely watch it. But that movie's pretty insane. I was actually impressed with that.
I heard good things. I'm excited personally. So I guess the first thing I want to start off with, this might be a different angle. We'll get to YouTube in a minute, but TikTok. Sure. TikTok. I've seen you on TikTok. How is that going for you? How do you feel about sort of the content that you make on TikTok right now?
I've been pushing more of my Apex Legends clips on there, and they've been doing pretty well. I like TikTok personally, more so because there's a creative side of myself that I want to do, but it won't work that well for YouTube. And mostly because there's a lot of cool music that I want to use in my videos, but I can't because DMCA. That doesn't mean I'm escaping DMCA on TikTok, but there's a lot of copyrighted music on small clips and things like that. So just recently, maybe like a month or so ago, I dropped, Valkyrie's my favorite character. Well, Valkyrie and Wraith are like my favorite characters in Apex. And there's a song from the DMC anime, Devil May Cry anime, woo! And I was like, this would be great to do a montage or like a small video kind of highlighting her, basically Valkyrie's backstory.
Yeah.
And I made a full edit to that, and it did well for the most part on TikTok. Can't really complain. The views on it were pretty solid. Likes and all that good stuff was good. So it's like, I want to do more things like that. Like, I see a lot of edits for movies and things like that that are just really cool on TikTok. And like, these don't lend themselves too well for YouTube, but they do pretty good on TikTok. Because like I said, and the cool thing also, TikTok, in my honest opinion, has an amazing algorithm in comparison to YouTube, like by far, because once you start watching something, it's going to start getting on your For You page pretty quickly. So if I watch Apex, Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, how to cook, top 10 places to go eat in this city, I'm going to see that a lot in my feed, lickety split. Whereas, sorry, I'm going to hit YouTube for a second. It takes a lot longer for that algorithm to kind of get you there. So it's a lot easier for a content creator to get into the algorithm over there on TikTok than it does on YouTube. Plus, I feel TikTok has more, what I'm looking for. It just feels like you can do more. It doesn't feel like you have to be locked into like this one thing, right? I have some Guilty Gear things on TikTok, but not nearly as much as Apex or even Halo for that matter. I have Halo clips on there too. But I don't know, I've just found TikTok to be greater in terms of exposure for any kind of content creator, from my honest opinion.
1000%. I absolutely agree. I think the number one thing that TikTok brings to any content creator is eyes.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
And eyes obviously are a valuable resource in the content creation scene. On TikTok,
Absolutely.
like, do whatever, dude. Like, whatever you want to post.
Pretty much.
It's up there.
And just to throw out there, like, even from what I've gathered, even from like a monetization side of things, some people say it's a lot lower than YouTube, but I'm thinking to myself, TikTok hasn't even been around like 5 years yet. And there's like, the sky's the limit. Right now they upped the time you can upload content from, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, now to 3 minutes. Now there's 10-minute content you can upload now. So I'm like, obviously TikTok is more of a short form content platform, but I do believe, if you can build it that way, you can as well. Again, it's definitely for short burst, but the fact that
the foundation there, right?
Yeah, it's all around the corner as far as I'm concerned. Like, YouTube didn't start, Google AdSense and monetization straight away whenever YouTube started. They had to build it. So I'm looking at it, and I think like it's like any other social media platform, right? Except for the difference here is So take like this and like Vine. You know, Vine had its moment where it was doing its thing, and then obviously it ultimately crashed. And that was like 7-second type stuff. Now, you know, getting a minute and then some, and just how much TikTok has grown in comparison to like Vine and some of these other things that have come out. It's like, if you want my honest opinion, I feel like, hell, actually not even honest opinion. It's kind of in the stats because I do my research. TikTok versus YouTube, low key, TikTok's had more overall viewership in the last 3 months than YouTube has had in the last 3 months. So that says a lot about what's going on here, which is why they push YouTube Shorts and all this other stuff like that. But end of the day, I think TikTok is, personal opinion, way to go right now. Personal opinion, 100%.
Yeah, 1000%. Any new budding content creators, anyone that has any ideas, guys, check out TikTok. You don't have to post immediately. Just take a look around, take a tour, okay?
Yes.
And see if you like it. Because the number one thing that I like to mention is that, and this is what makes TikTok so like unique, is that the majority of its user base is on phone, right?
Yep.
And that can present a lot of different challenges, a lot of different maybe styles that you know, you will have to experience as a content creator. I know for myself, speaking from experience, playing fighting games on TikTok blows, to put it lightly. Like, it is horrible. I've developed the system now. I had it, but I had to take like at least 2 to 3 months to figure out like what's the best way I can possibly display this, and also webcam and also info, because the phone is only so big, right?
Yep.
But yeah, what do you think about sort of FGC content outside of YouTube right now? I know we just mentioned TikTok and stuff like that. Do you consume any FGC content outside of YouTube at all?
Outside, everywhere for the most part.
Yeah,
I'm everywhere. Do I think there's anything missing? Oof, man. I think this one might sound harsh, but I think what's missing in FGC content is production value.
yes.
I feel like there's a lot of, and this is gonna sound harsh, but I gotta keep it a bean.
We can walk through it together.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of like okay, as a streamer, it's very easy to pull content, right? Content, and maybe chop it up, throw it up on the YouTube, right? It is content for what it's worth, right? But I think there's not enough meaningful stuff. And I make this assessment all the time when I talk to my stream, right? When we talk about FGC content versus other areas, right? I play a lot of Apex, right? So I'll be like, guys, look at this. This is what I mean when I say this. There's not enough character specialists. There's not enough information on the games. So we're lacking in just getting people in the doorway, right? We already can get past the point that there's a $60 price tag, or let's say you bought it for cheap, right? Whatever. Money was already a barrier, right? Now we got you in the door. You like this character, right? So we'll use Strive, right? Let's say you like, I don't know, Anji, right? Where's the guide for Anji? 2-hour long guide with some dude umming and on and umming and on and umming and and it's all just taken from stream. It's all just put up there, and it's like, well, who wants to sit through that, you know? And then even then, furthermore, you get one guide. Might be dated, might not be, or you get a situation when you see Apex. You just type in Wraith Guide, Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 5, Season 6, Season 7, Season 8, Season 9, Season 10, season up till infinity from a multitude of content creators. Or, hey man, how do I tap strafe? 9,000 guides. How do I wall bounce? 9,000 guides. It doesn't matter that it's the same content per se. It's the fact that it's always readily available. It's the fact that if you type in wall bouncing in Apex, you'll find so many guides from so many different people that might show you a different way that might work for you, you know? And if there's guides, maybe this guy plays, you know, well, look at like Imperial Hal. Imperial Hal, I don't think has any kind of Wraith guides to my knowledge, but there's a lot of other people that do. And or there are people that will do analysis on Imperial Hal's gameplay to kind of help you get better. So like there's there's a lot of tutorial content, but it's pretty general and there's not enough of it. And it's a part of it has to do with the scene isn't as large as say Apex, Valorant, any of the bigger esports games, right?
Yeah.
But we're lacking that part of production. We're lacking we don't even have that stuff. But when I say also production, like actual thought out videos, like scripted, good editing. And some people take good editing the wrong way. Like, and you make content yourself. Like it's not just a flashy transition, right? It's just meaningful content.
Yes.
It is stuff that makes sense, stuff that fits for the time frame. We understand that a lot of people don't have a lot of time on their hands, right? But if you were to make a 30-minute tutorial, this tutorial needs to be good and you need to section it out, right? You section it out, it's good. There are people that have made longer tutorials, but they're not, like I said, it's not chopped up. Like you need to consider people's time, right? And that's a big thing when it comes to like FGC content. Like sometimes like I'll look at say, I'll look at a Brian F video, and this is no knock on him, but I'll watch a video and I'll see like a match and I'm like, okay, cool, you played this player, and it's like chopped up rounds and stuff like that. I'm like, well, where's the whole first to 10? Like this just says first to 10. I feel like, granted, clickbaited, right? And I'm like, but and again, it's no knock on him. I get it. This is the style of content that he likes to make, but I'm just like, if you put on your thing, this was a first to 10, I want to see the whole thing. If I see 15 minutes and I'm like, there's no way you played 15 minutes worth of Street Fighter on a first to 10 unless you smoke this guy.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
there's just no way. So I'm not a big fan of skipping the neutral portions just to get to the action. That's understandable in like Apex because there's a lot of downtime from looting to getting from rotations or something like that. That's understandable. Or even Valorant, where like I did a lot of study on these games in particular, right?
Yeah.
Apex makes sense. You don't want your audience to be like, well, he's still running around. I wonder if he's gonna find an enemy.
You got a white backpack, guys. Let's go.
Yeah,
like
right. It's like drop, first engagement, next engagement, end game, win or lose. Mm-hmm. Move forward.
And maybe the positioning you took to get to that engagement could be, played as
absolutely.
well. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's a lot that you talked about there. I want to dissect a bunch.
Let's do it.
I guess the first thing, going back to, the Brian F point, not a knock at him whatsoever. We want to disclaim that this isn't necessarily saying that his content is bad. I think his content's excellent.
His content's great. 100%.
One of the things I feel like a lot of FGC content right now is funneling you to a Twitch stream. We're going to funnel you because if you want to watch that first to 10, you have to catch the VOD, or you have to catch it live. And then, lo and behold, you're on his stream, consuming his content there.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
In which maybe he makes more money, maybe he doesn't. He is being hypothetical. I'm not saying Brian, right?
Right.
So I feel like there's a lot of funnels, and also there's a lot of stuff that's kind of just unfortunately lost to the times. I remember and I feel your pain on the tutorial section of things because, I enjoyed your chip guides, but when I was starting Street Fighter V and I wanted to learn about Karin, right? I went on the Discord, which by the way, it's like, I have to go on a Discord. Like, first of all,
Discords.
The video, we could touch on that at some point, but the video was 2 hours. And I was like, and there's multiple parts, and I was like, just tell me what buttons I gotta press. Like,
Yep.
And I guess this comes from, from the TikTok side of things. I feel like if I haven't presented the value of the content, or at least promised it to you within the first minute, I failed.
Oh, absolutely.
That video is a failure.
Dude, I'm gonna throw this one out here. I know you said TikTok, but I'm gonna throw it on YouTube. Dude, you have 30 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds on a YouTube video to get someone interested, and if you don't, they're off the video.
Oh yeah.
And it shows in your analytics how when people are clicking off, it shows. It is a real, for those of you guys watching this, it is a real thing for us content creators. Like, we know when you're clicking off the video, we know how long you've been watching. We know, like, YouTube doesn't lie to us. We get to see the full analytics of every time, and maybe not every single individual, right? But the thing is, there's a recurring trend, right? So let's say the average watch time is 6 minutes. That means that's good for a content creator. Like, if we've got you hooked for 6 minutes, we did our job, right? But if the average watch time for like an 8-minute video says 2 minutes, we're sitting there scratching our head trying to figure out what we did wrong.
Yeah.
So let it be known, 30 seconds to a minute, that's the best we got. That's what we have to do.
And that could be a plethora of things. That could be we actually presented all of the info that was needed, and the rest of the video is just fluff, or
Yep.
Or we're not fast enough, or the information is inadequate, and someone's making sort of like a knee-jerk reaction and clicking off. There's so many variables, right? I guess this goes back to like the lab example used. So many variables that goes into this. Unfortunately, as content creators, like feedback is a double-edged sword.
It is.
When we need to like kind of take an objective look. That's why I always love sending my clips and my videos to like my friends or other people and be like, be honest, would you watch this? Is this something you would watch?
That's a very good thing to do.
Yeah, and if they say no, then it's like, dude, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate you saying no and then giving me notes on top of that. Sick.
Oh, that's
invaluable.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Invaluable. You know, and I do it for them as well. So it's
good. It's good you have a content creator support system, because I have one of those too now. Yeah, it's good because when you're doing content by yourself, there's a lot of scratching your head. There's a lot of, am I doing this right?
But it's really
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Day after day, night after night. Yeah. Totally understandable.
Kensu, what is your goal when making videos, or what is your overall content creation goal?
I would say, per video, barring what it is, like if it's something if it's a reaction, obviously it's just knock that out and be done. But when I'm actually making a tutorial in particular, my goal is to make sure this is something you can come back and watch later. Like, I like making content that stands the test of time, because people do tend to go back to your channel and see like early beginnings, or like, let's say they're playing said game and maybe this will help you out or something like that. Like, I try to make stuff last more than like that week or that month. This is for like the year, you know? So like if I make, like for example, I did a tutorial on, what was it? Like 10 or so things you should do in KOF, you know, for like beginners. It doesn't matter when you pick up KOF 15. And this also applies to literally like every KOF, you know, for the most part. So having something like that to me is important, because I want you to check it out later. They're kind of like mini books, right? I want you to come back and be like, you know? Yeah. So it's like in this chapter, like you don't have to watch the whole thing, but be like, oh, what was number 10? And he put that here. Let me check that out. Yeah, that's all I can hope for. Long-term goal, obviously, to stay in this realm and do the best that I can. Short-term, well, let me go long-term. Long-term, obviously, stay as a content creator within, you know, obviously as many content creation spaces as possible, but specifically between Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok is where I'd like to stay. Making content not just for fighting games, because I'm gonna just be real, I've had my spiel with fighting games, and as much as I love the genre, it is still a very scary genre to stick to when it comes to making content, because the audience isn't all there. It doesn't mean that there isn't an audience, it just means this audience is kind of small. Is it getting bigger? Obviously so, but you know, as a content creator, fighting game player, competitor, all that, it's been quite the journey, like recognizing what games do well, what games don't do well, you know. But you know, first buzz of the month, like I'm gonna be honest with you, I've played literally everything that has come out in the last 5 years on stream, and I've seen the highest of highs and the lowest of lows when it comes to these games. You know, for example, you know, playing Guilty Gear, it was and I'll be honest, it was very difficult for a period of time to get a good sub count. I'll have the viewers, but like the sub count, obviously that's how I make revenue, that's how I eat, that's how I pay my bills, right? But you know, it took a very long time for that to even touch 200. You know, people playing Apex and other games like that, their growth is inevitable. You know, even from playing games like Marvel Infinite, that game grew my stream drastically, and that game died. Lickety split, my stream took a big hit. You know, so Calibur, Dragon Ball, like all these games, you know, one of the biggest things is to try to stick to something. You know, and I'm known for playing a lot of different games. Like I can pretty much play whatever, but a lot of times people want to see people stick to a single game or a set of games. So I'm hoping for the long term that like Street Fighter 6, Project L, and Multiverses, making a video about that soon. I think that those are going to be the next big three. Guilty Gear and KOF, I think they're going to be unfortunately trailing behind in that regard for content and whatnot. So basically for the long term, it's just I have to go where like the, you know, I gotta say it like this, it's just the content creator, you gotta go where the money's at, right? Or go where the, not even just the money, right? And saying it like that maybe sounds harsh, but we'll just say where the audience is, right? I think that's a bit more fair to say. Because you want more eyes on your content, and that's something that I struggle with as a content creator, is like, as much as I love this genre, like it's tearing me apart, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a big reason why I got into Apex, is because I wanted to first off, I wanted to prove that I could play more than just fighting games. Like, I can play whatever, like, and be good at it. I don't need to be Imperial HAL tournament level, but strong enough to be able to play against them in ranked and whatnot. And it's been quite the journey. You know, it's been almost 2 years now of playing Apex, like, along with fighting games, and I can hold my own. You know, we've hit plat rank before, not impossible. We're still working on it even now. So I just want to be in, honestly, both scenes. I love fighting games, and I've now have a bigger appreciation for shooters. So, you know, I have a secondary channel now based around shooters, and I know I've been uploading shooter content towards my main YouTube channel, which is not the smartest of ideas, but it's kind of like my filler content until I get another fighting game out. But I know I should be putting it on my main channel. I'm kind of all over the place for this, but, you know,
no, I'm following along.
I guess it's just long term. I'm just hoping that Street Fighter, Project L, and Multiverses are the games that keep fighting game players eating the way the FPS genre, like every other genre is eating. Like, I'm hoping that these are the keys to our success down the road, because, you know, the sad truth is, like, I love Guilty Gear. I'm gonna tell it to you with a straight face. Like, that's my favorite fighting game series, like, hands down, 100%. But I know that if ArcSys as a company cannot provide not necessarily just a good game, but good developer support to help create the ecosystem that's necessary for Guilty Gear, then
to succeed.
Yeah,
it's
very difficult. Yeah.
Listen,
but
yeah, that is a hot plate that I will burn myself on. I don't care. Okay,
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, like,
I'm right there with you.
And that's not necessarily to say that you're gonna give up on Guilty. I don't think you ever would, right? Because you love the franchise so much. I don't think you have to prove that to anyone, personally.
Oh,
right?
Definitely
not. I don't think you have to for any game. But, you know, to say that, you know, absolutely there is a fact that, you know, especially with Multiverses, and I mean, look at Multiverses alone, like just the buzz it created. And now you have Street Fighter 6, which as a Street Fighter player, I am so pumped for. And then you also have
oh yeah,
you also have Project L, which is, you know, on the back burner. We even have a back burner game that might actually pop off, which is just good to have in the future. If, you know, maybe things don't pan out with Multiverses. Like, we have a plan C. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
In the fighting game community. Right?
I love that. I love it.
Yeah. I feel like we're moving on an uptick. And now that we've solved, because I've heard this time and time again, and, you know, there is some truth to it that fighting games as a genre are a little held back. We're still like arcade games for console that you could play online, right? But now that we solved netcode to a certain extent, now other problems can actually get looked at.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
You know,
yes. 100%. 100%.
Future's bright. Future's bright. That's what I want to say.
I'll try to hit this on the last point for the short-term part. I'll try to keep it as short as possible because I went all over the place with that. But for the short term, my short-term goal right now for making videos is essentially kind of part of long-term too, but I try to give as much as myself as possible. Like, so what that entails is, like, obviously my energy, my music choices, you know, big fan of like house music, you know, hip hop, all that stuff like that. You know, I try to give as much of that as possible to my audience. And in addition to that, for the short term, like, I'm testing out a bunch of different styles of content, you know, to like see what's gonna work and what's more receptive towards people. So I have quite a few goals for that. I have quite a few things. I've like, KOF is actually my pilot game for trying different things. And the reception to that was good. So now I'm experimenting with another style. So I've like checked that one off my little bucket list. I'm like, okay, I can do this style of content now. So now I'm gonna try a different style here and see how this works and see how people are receptive to that. Because these types of things are what I'm using to shape my future content for Street Fighter 6, Project L. Those are gonna be more so the games I really push, more so than multiverses. I do like multiverses, but that's another story. But yeah, that's essentially my long and short term goals right now.
Very commendable. Your short term is sort of to just find more style.
Yeah.
Refine, point where you have a couple of, whether it's templates, video templates, styles that you want to emulate in the future that you can do. I'm right there with you. I'm trying to do the same thing.
I have one more small piece.
Go for it.
My thumbnails, there's a big thing about them, and I'll throw this out here because my stream knows it, but I don't think many people know this. But I'm a big fan of graffiti. I used to be a graffiti head, and my thumbnails are very representative of, when I say giving myself, that's why it's very grungy. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Messy. There's a lot of beauty. Basically what I'm saying is there's beauty in chaos. So I try to bring my artistic style there too. So anything creative, there's some grunge and some messiness in my videos. You guys don't see it, but I know it's there. But yeah, anyway,
it's a little extra spice. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, essentially.
Video essentially. What are they gonna do?
Yeah, true.
That's good to hear. Long term and short term, very, very, very insightful here. So, I want to move on to this. If you had to tell Kensou at the beginning of your YouTube journey, what is one thing that you would avoid doing?
Not taking it seriously. I think I made the mistake early on in not taking YouTube more seriously. And I would definitely flash back and be like, hey, stupid, in the future, you screw up. So do it right now so that I can go back to where it's better. Seriously. I had a good spiel on doing things on YouTube during Guilty Gear days, Guilty Gear Xrd days in particular. And I had a lot of steam going for me early on. And I think if I would have taken more stuff from my stream and put it on my YouTube and learned more about the algorithm and SEO and all that stuff like that, I think I would be in a way better position now. But that would be it. 100%. That would definitely be it. Take it more seriously. Because I put all my eggs in one basket, which was Twitch, which was content creators. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Take it from me.
That's actually a good follow-up to my next question. How do you feel about sort of Twitch and streaming and sort of that space right now?
I can say the only thing I don't like about Twitch, I have many things, but I don't like the DMCA stuff because it kind of kills a lot of the vibe. Because a lot of people love to listen to, copyrighted music. New Drake comes out. I mean,
yeah.
Kendrick just dropped a new album. I mean, if I'm playing that while I'm playing Guilty Gear and beating ass, people, man, that Kendrick go hard, man. I see you putting in work there with Chip too. Yeah, get people to to bop with me. It's music is a big vibe on Twitch, and a lot of people can appreciate the music choices because before, trust, I used to jam a lot of lo-fi and stuff like that, and just get people involved, so they love the music. And but overall, my Twitch experience has been good. I think things have been changing for the better, and I think Twitch is getting better. I don't think Twitch is bad. I don't think Twitch is bad. I love streaming. I can sit here and stream 10 hours and not even think about it. Because I just love hanging out and seeing people and talking with people about things. And I think it's just I just always feel like I'm just giving myself to people and they're giving themselves to me. Take it forever you will. But it's just I just love interacting with people. So streaming is just streaming just helps me do that more so than not. And I feel like you probably would have to break my hands or something of that to get me to stop streaming or something. I don't know. I love streaming. one of my biggest goals is to help people get through their day. Yeah. Because some people have actually DM'd me and tell me like, dude, thanks for the streams. Like, it helps me get through work, or like I was going through a tough time or something like that. Like, you just never know how you're actually affecting people with like your vibes. So I'm just like, you know what? And this is a recurring thing I get. So I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna keep making this a chill atmosphere. Like, no matter what. Yeah, I'm competitive and whatnot, but from the music choices to everything like that, talking with people about stuff, I'm like, hey man, I'm here to chill with you, and you can chill with me too. Even if you're lurking, I'm cool with the lurks, you know what I'm saying? I got my little Goomba emote when you be crouching and lurking and seeing what's going on. You know, it's cool. I'm with you guys. I'm with you. I tell them all the time, I'm with you. I know you're lurking and chilling, but I'm glad to have you here, you know, so.
I'm sure it's very fulfilling for you as well.
Absolutely.
So, I know we mentioned quickly the future right now, but I want to bring it to the present. Okay. Right now, in the year 2022, how do you think fighting games are doing?
Good and bad. Good because we have rollback. Bad because we had to twist the arms of a bunch of Japanese developers to understand how important good online is. Unfortunately, during a pandemic. This should have been a standard for a long time. Big ups to Sajam and all the rollback crusaders out there that kind of helped push the revolution for that. Now that part is good, you know. I'm glad that we got that going. I think it's good that we have a lot of fighting games to play. Obviously, Guilty Gear Strive, KOF, DNF Duels on the way. I think this is good. I think we have a lot of good things coming. It's not too bad. It's really not too bad, you know. Obviously, for me in particular, I just want to see more from the Japanese developers. I think that's really it, but not too bad.
I'm right there with you. I think out of anything I want to see, for me, it's just communication. I'm gonna use Strive as an example because it's the most recent thing. I'm not dunking on Guilty Gear, okay? It's been a vocal thing on my channel before that Strive has burned me, okay? However, I would feel so much better if Arxis was like, hey, this is what we want Guilty Gear to be. Yeah. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Not for you. That alone, I understand they can't say verbatim that. Obviously, marketing wouldn't allow. But of course, just putting the devs sharing insight and being like, listen, this is our vision for Guilty Gear Strive. And for me to look at that and go, okay, you know, I don't really like that vision of Guilty Gear, so I'm just gonna peace, but thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I can understand it. I can definitely respect that.
That's all I want.
I can respect it.
Yeah, just communication. Like, just tell me what your game is about. Like, that's the bare minimum. Like, just share.
I have so many words. I have so many words.
You want to go into it, or?
Well, it's one of the later questions.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if I should just. I'm feeling like I think I'm gonna save it for that.
Okay.
Ooh, I have words.
We'll save it for that. So I guess moving on. Favorite game of the year, 2022. Not too many options, but we got a few.
Fighting games?
Fighting games, yeah.
Oh, favorite fighting game to come out this year? And it's just KOF.
Yeah.
KOF's the only real game to come out this year, but I mean, obviously I like both KOF and Guilty Gear, but if you're just saying video game to come out this year, man, I have to go look at Steam. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? How about this? I'll give you a better one. Mm-hmm. I'll give you my favorite video game, my favorite game to come out in the last 5 years. I'll give you that one.
Okay, I want to hear this.
Sekiro.
Banger. Absolute banger. Good taste.
I love that game. I love that game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You play Elden Ring?
Yes.
Did you like it? Not Sekiro.
Yeah. It's just, for me, it's kind of like, how'd y'all make Sekiro? And then like,
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like,
how did y'all do this?
Listen, I hear all the 10 out of 10s. I get a little salty about it because I'm like, guys, like, we had something going there. Like, there was something there. And, you know, they took some of it at like, maybe like a bone or two out of the skeleton and put it in Elden Ring, but it wasn't really like, you know.
like some of the bosses in Elden Ring feel very Sekiro-like. I'm cool with that.
Yes, Millennia, like that is straight up a Sekiro boss, like 1000%.
And I'm like, all y'all had to do was optimize this game and I'd probably be okay. But like, it's also the dodge mechanic. Like the game just felt clunky in comparison to Sekiro. Sekiro just felt very responsive. It doesn't mean Elden Ring's bad, but I get it. It's on the Souls tip, and I remember being like, I can't stand this. And they're like, the meme is it's a feature. I'm like, yeah. So latency in a game is a feature? You know, I play fighting games, right? You know, I don't like 6 frames of delay in my games. And you guys playing the PS5 version talking about this is great. I'm like, man, I don't know, man. Y'all,
coming from like an action game, like background with DMC and all of that stuff, like input delay sucks. No one wants it in an action RPG. And like, for me, the Souls-likes were never really an action RPG. It was more like the exploration for me. That's why Dark Souls 1 is my favorite, because the world there is just like begging you to explore it.
Explore it.
With Elden Ring, it's like, yeah, it is an open world, but it still feels like combat's the #1 focus, which was
absolutely sort
of like why Elden Ring is a good game. I'm not dunking on it. I'm just saying that like my preferred Soulsborne is exploration. If I want action, I will play Devil May Cry. Thank you very much.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. That's actually a good way to put it. That's actually a good way to put it. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you tenfold on that.
So now that we're on the, I guess we could swing it back to fighting games real quick. You think that fighting games are getting easier, and is that a bad thing?
All right. Faded question.
Gotta hit you with the heavy hitters, you know?
It's all good. I'm with it. I'm definitely on my Rick Grimes. I'm out here trying to make the hard to make decisions. But okay, are fighting games getting easier? Okay, fighting games are getting easier. Yes. Is that a bad thing? No. So they're getting easier by way of inputs, because there's a lot of people who are big, fond of like, why do I do this motion? Why do I gotta do this? Why I gotta do that? Because you get a lot of people that come from other games, like say League of Legends, QWER. All right, there you go. Your actives 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, go get them, Tiger. They're used to just pressing a button and having their character do something, or Valorant, Apex. Everything is on a button. Everything's at the touch of a button. Mm-hmm. So people want to have that kind of feeling where like, when I want to do something, I press this happens. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a fan of someone pressing one button and Raging Demon hitting me. Okay, I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
But I understand why people would want that, right? So when it comes to it being a bad thing, it's probably bad in the traditional sense of a fighting game, that you need to do this series of inputs to get this to work, right? But you can create that series of inputs and make it work without having to be as strenuous. And I still think the perfect example of this is Power Rangers Battle for the Grid.
Interesting.
Like, that game has no motion inputs unless you're playing like Ryu and Chun, right?
Okay.
But up special, down special, forward special, the combos in that game are ridiculously sick. And there's no motion inputs. So it's proof that it can be done. And to be quite honest, I do believe that's where Project L is heading. But it's the fact that you don't need motion inputs, in my opinion. It's not a necessity. And I think that's why Project L is taking that approach. And from what we've seen from Riot, it's doable. Project L definitely is proving that, right? But I think the foundation is Battle for the Grid. Like, you can see it. Even Mortal Kombat, like, they don't even require diagonals, for the course of forward inputs. They just down and forward and back and forward. Get over here. So it's like, it's really easy to do inputs in like those games. So they're trying to make it, and even then, dial a combo. Like, I think there's nothing wrong with having like a series of inputs that don't require motions, right? Because that's Battle for the Grid. ABC, forward button, down button, up button, special button, And it's a very good formula. So nah, I really don't think it's bad. I think you get the really hardcore purists that just love motion inputs and stuff like that, love the traditional way of fighting games, and they want it to stay that way, when the truth of the matter is, whether we like to believe it or not, times are changing, industry's changing, you know, people's interests are changing, how people want to play video games is changing. Like, we've just seen that even from mobile handheld gaming. Like, things are evolving, and I feel the industry needs to evolve with what people want. Old heads just got to get over it, you know. Yeah. Even me, right? There's things in Strive that I don't agree with as a longtime Guilty Gear player, but I respect the choices. As difficult as it may be to respect, I just acknowledge this is the way they want the game to work. It's my goal as the player to play the game the way they want me to play it, you know, and I have to find the way to have fun with it to whatever capacity. If I intend to play the game, then I have to accept it. It's all about accepting the game's getting easier.
Yeah, you know, I had a really interesting discussion with a friend yesterday about the inputs, right? And I felt as if the TLDR of the discussion was the better player is still going to win.
Always.
Always. I've seen this argument a couple of times of people being like, dude, all the noobs are gonna like, you know, because Street Fighter, the modern inputs, people were like, oh, one button Shoryukens, that's ridiculous. And it's like, yeah, but having the theory of anti-airing, there's a disconnect between theory and execution. Just innate,
100%.
Innate.
Totally.
And
totally.
It feels good to execute on the theory, and if you make the execution better, the feedback loop becomes immensely more satisfying for someone that's completely new to Street Fighter. And then look at all these heads you're going to get in the door, and then all this prize pool money that you complain is not there is going to be there, because there's going to be more people that play the game.
I mean, there's always a give and take. There's always a give and take. So it's like, you got to take the good with the bad. Like, I'm gonna be upfront with you, man. Street Fighter 6 with their modern input and then classic input, I don't really think that there will be someone in the competitive circuit on modern game, on modern controls. Now, mind you, I'll tell it to you straight up. I will eat my words if someone does it, right? But I think it will be very difficult to do that against someone who has full access to their normals.
Yes.
You know? So if someone has full access to their normals, then you can, unless both players are on modern controls, then
different playing field. Because like, let's say, you know, you have a heavy button, and I want Chun's standing heavy punch, but when I press the heavy button, heavy kick comes out first. Heavy kick comes out.
Yeah, it's like, I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to duff him with this. I'm not trying to roundhouse kick him. No way.
Exactly.
So yeah, you know, you want that full control, and I guess maybe I hit the point already with how important accessibility is. It's just, I mean, you just nailed it. Like, we need more people on the games. And even if they had, like, let's say Street Fighter 6, those modern control only tournament. All right, good, fine.
We're chilling. I'm sure there's going to be 50 others with competitive controls that I can go to and use.
100. You know? That's it. Like, whew,
that space existing isn't going to destroy the scene.
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Simple as that.
Yep. Now, I will say what will be scary. I think Geef on modern control is going to be kind of scary. One button SPD is kind of oof. SPD
is, especially with like a drive rush, if he's got that.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm chilling. Yeah. I'm good. I'm good. I will dodge a Geef. I have no shame. Street Fighter 5, I can handle it, you know, but running towards you is rough. If that's like a system mechanic thing.
For sure.
But yeah, accessibility is really, really important. I guess we could switch over to, another facet of fighting games. We mentioned getting people in the door. And I wanted your thoughts on sort of the monetization models of fighting games. We're seeing a bunch of different talks about that recently. And I just wanted to hear your take on, you know, some of the existing things like free-to-play fighting games and stuff like that.
Oh, man. You really hit me with all the stuff I've been trying to get away from, especially more so on my own YouTube, because people, how do you feel about free-to-play? I'm just like, this is such a can of worms, but I'll do it for you, Lumi. I got you. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for you. All right. So one thing people have to understand when it comes to this, because I know free to play is the number one topic.
Sure.
Monetization in that regard, a lot of people always talk about predatory this, predatory that. This is predatory, da da da. it's only predatory if you fall victim of it, right? Like, the developers have to make money somehow. You know, one of the biggest issues people don't understand, and quick background for me really quickly, is I worked in marketing. So this is where I'm going to use my marketing experience, right? The company has to make money somehow, right? It's also up to the company to make a good product, right? A lot of the things, like, I'll use Valorant. Valorant's a good example for this. Valorant literally has $100 bundles for gun skins. Not character skins, gun skins. The only other thing you can look at in the game, right? Whereas the League of Legends has a lot of character skins and stuff like that on the cheaper side. But you want to get a whole gun bundle, $80, $100. The first bundle was $100,
Jesus.
right? Literally, the first bundle was like $100. But they have all these cool animations and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, cool. But the thing is, if you don't want that, you just buy the battle pass. If you don't want that, guess what? You don't pay anything, right? So you have the ability to just play the game for free 100% of the way. Maybe you might get a random Twitch drop. You have your Twitch account connected to your Riot account, and they give like a gun buddy or like a gun skin. That was free, but you could still play this game 100% free, right? So the fact that they have these models that are already pre-existing for these games, they're there for the company to make money. They're there for the whales, the people that are willing to spend that guap to get whatever they want in the game. That's up to them. Not all those people spending money are like pro players. There's people who just like the game and just like, those skins are cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Valorant had a skin bundle from the music artist Zed, you know? I think that bundle was also $100 or something like that. It's like, dude, it's there for the whales, right? It's like Genshin Impact. You don't gotta spend any money on Primal Gen. Just play the game.
Yeah.
Right? But the whales will be like 100, 200, 300. I didn't get my character, 400, 500. Did I finally get gold Beto? I did. All right, cool. Do I got the gold Beto sword? All right, cool. It's like there's people who are willing to spend and they don't care because they want to enjoy the game the way they want to enjoy the game. So I think the issue is a lot of people don't respect the fact that you can enjoy the game how you want, right? It's like, if you play Final Fantasy VII this way and some guy tells you, you're playing it wrong. Dude, it's my experience. Let me play it my way.
Why are you using magic? That's cringe.
Right.
Like, yeah. Getting
Just
Souls-likes too, actually.
Yeah, like, just let people enjoy the game how they want.
Yes.
And don't be mad at the company for trying to make money. Yes, it sucks that it's expensive. Yeah, like,
that's why they're making a product. Games are a product.
The number one thing that's not understood is like there is a business and there are people that have families. There are people that are just like you that need to make $1. And if everything was just given to you for free and you're complaining about it, these guys are working for free. You're complaining and these guys are working for free. So how do they get to eat? You know, so it's kind of, you have to, people, I understand the consumer to business thing. A lot of times the consumers don't care. And I get it. Trust me. I'm on both sides of the spectrum. I understand. But they have to do this in order to make the money. Yeah. The first goal of business is to make money. Well, honestly, first goal of business is to really make a good product and make money. So people just have to respect that. I think that's the only disconnect. But I think the easiest way to get through that is what we said earlier: transparency from the developers. Yes. If the developers are transparent, then you can feel comfortable in knowing that your money is going towards a company that, for better or worse, right? You can, because, take for example, people don't like Riot for whatever reason, right? At least you can take solace in knowing that you're paying, or like you're putting trust in a company and giving them money for something that they care about for you, right? Valorant is a perfect example for this. The developers came out after Neon came out. The lead dev was like, this white lady, right? That lady's cool as hell. But she was like, I forget her name, but she was just like, hey, look, for this next patch, for this next act, we're not doing any new characters. We're focused on balance. We're focused on fixing the maps. We're listening to your feedback. And we're opening up communication in our Reddit, AMA, ask us anything. We'll show you guys stuff, blah, 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 blah. The fact that they were that open in a 3-minute video speaks volumes. They did a community battle pass, meaning all the graphic designers and players that like things about the game, they had them
cool.
Yeah, so they had them make things, and it's in the battle pass. The graphic designer for 100 Thieves, Sesso, he has a whole skin bundle in the game. And it's like, these are the things that we need for our games. So you see what I'm saying? Like, the fact that they were open about a full-on community battle pass that you can support, be a part of, or whatever, that's transparency. That is always gonna, transparency is the word for every game developer, whether it's a fighting game, shooting game, MOBA. Sorry about my mic, but that's how hype I am. It's just mobile communication, transparency. Yeah. That's all. And trust me, I know people watching this. I know how you guys feel, man. Trust me. You don't think I get mad, even as someone who worked in marketing, I get mad when it comes to ArcSys too, because I'm like, bro, just tell me what's going on with Strive. Y'all went this long without a patch. Y'all said nothing about it. Now you're like, June 8th.
7 months.
All right.
Is it
all right?
The last balance. Not the last character. I don't count those.
Right.
Characters are important to the ecosystem of the game. They bring life into the game. But a balance patch, 7 months.
We've been dealing with HC guard crushing us from full screen for the last 7 months. It's like, dude, are y'all looking at this? Like, it's like you want me to go compete in this? You want me to go spend money to go travel? And don't get me wrong, I respect everyone that went to travel for Combo Breaker, came to, Texas Showdown, etc. But it's like your competitive integrity is hurting. Your game's integrity.
During the winners finals, Combo Breaker, because it was a happy chaos mirror. And I was there. I was in the crowd. And let me tell you, there was people like this. I was one of those people. Okay. I woke up in grand finals because gotta see you gotta see Leo get his dues for another major win. But but yeah, we're on the same page with that, man. It's just, tell me what is going on, and you will be surprised at how happy people are. Also, not to mention the fact that I feel like a lot of people don't trust companies, which is fair. Okay.
That's fair.
I'm not saying that getting drip fed by a company is the way to go with these like free
looking
to play
at
models.
you DNF duel.
Yeah. But I mean, like, as long as it doesn't impede on the gameplay and it's not some sort of pay to win, right? Like, if I can pay $20 to have my fireball do 50% of your life, then of course, obviously, there's problems with that, and that's very hyperbolic. But if there was anything that had or involved in game balance with a monetary reward or some sort of monetary incentive to, get a game balance, which, by the way, kind of already exists in DLC characters, but that's a conversation for another time. Okay? That's a whole can of worms. But overall, like, yeah, why give pushback? I understand that it's been done probably once, like ever, right? And I mean, you also look at Brawlhalla as well. Brawlhalla is also an example of like a free-to-play game and stuff like that people aren't necessarily impressed with. But let one of these studios handle it. Let's see what happens. Like, literally, what is there to lose? Because the opposite of that is just another, maybe, something mediocre coming out. Or you having to spend $60 to figure out if you like a game or not. Which is not something a lot of people can afford.
I will say this. Now, I do want to add to this because you do have this thing here about the direction you'd like to see the devs take. Now, I've been waiting. I was saving it just for this.
Floor is yours.
The direction I'd like to see the devs take moving forward. Let's start here. Twitch drops. Content creator programs. Developer support. More push from the developers to be more on the community side of things. More community highlight reels, more showing support towards the content creators, having a good rapport between the content creators, competitors, and stuff like that, so that they feel more comfortable, right? And by that, I mean like the people that are playing, right? So let's start with Twitch drops. Simple. Work with Twitch, get a contract. Hey, guess what? Drops enabled for the Kensou specific chip color that you can only get by watching the stream. That does wonders for any streamer. It doesn't matter. Does not matter, right? specific loading screens, specific Twitch colors. It is when I'm looking at Twitch and I click my like drop section, right, or like little add-ons because I know it's connected to my things as partner, right, and I'm seeing Final Fantasy get like 1,000 coins because you just connected your Twitch account to this. It's a mobile game and I'm getting all this. I'm getting Twitch drops for a mobile game. Okay. 7 Deadly Sins. Get this cool sword. Genshin Impact. Get these primal gems. I'm trying to understand why there is no Street Fighter skins, why there's no Tekken skins, much less Twitch rivals for some of these games. Sure, we've had Twitch rivals for Guilty Gear recently, and we've had Twitch rivals for Mortal Kombat recently.
Even Street Fighter now. Well, yeah.
So it's
like get your CPT skins by watching like a certain amount of time on the CPT, like the Capcom Fighters Network, or like Brian F, or partnered streamers. Same thing with MK, Guilty Gear, like
dude. Yeah, it's really cool to see that, because I'll give you an example, right? There's an Apex player that a female Apex player I used to watch a good bit. Her name was Girl, and I think Respawn worked with her on something, and there were specific loading screens that you can get from her channel, and like a Pathfinder skin or something like that you can get only from watching her channel. You had to watch a certain amount of time. That does great, not just for, it shows support from the developer. It shows that you will get viewership off of it. You can gain subscribers off of it. You can gain a new community off of that. Like the sky is the limit, and there's no losing. And here's the best part, right? This is the part where I'm going to give you my marketing background once again. The best way to advertise when it comes to games now is through the players, content creators. It is the smallest budget you can create to work with people, because guess what? Again, come from a marketing background. It costs a large amount of money to advertise on spaces like LinkedIn. And let me tell you, for example, right? LinkedIn, you're gonna learn something here.
Okay.
LinkedIn advertising, for example, minimum campaign for 1 month, $5,000. Now do that by 12.
Yeah.
Right.
That's some racks right there. Like that is a lot of money.
You can take half of that, or maybe even a third of that. We'll say maybe 75% to half of it, right? Maybe 60%. I'll meet you there, right? Mm-hmm. You can use that same income, do marketing campaign, and focus on the content creators, and give away this. Like, so if you think about it, right, the skin bundles and things like that, that costs a certain amount of money. That goes part of the budget, right? So you can budget that out and be like, okay, we'll do that for this season or whatever, and be like, okay, we can do that. And then take the remaining parts of the budget, do it again for the next season. You can budget this out consistently per season. And it all works for the content creators. It all works for the players. It works for every, so it's like, I want that cool Akali skin from KDA. Well, you got to watch my stream in order to get that. And this is a specific color. It's not in the shop. You have to watch it here. Otherwise, yeah, they'll bring it back later, obviously, right? That's kind of how this goes. But like, it's a free way to advertise the game, work with the players, and be like, hey, I have a working relationship with Riot. Riot gives me these things that I can give out to the community. And that's what they did moving forward with their content creator program. I'm not sure if it's still around or not, but they might bring it back or resurface it. But their content creator program basically gave you free skins and stuff like that to give out to your community, developer insights you can share, stuff like that. They fly you out to places or whatever, or they get you involved with certain things. It's like, that's good. That doesn't cost them that much. That's like a drop in the bucket for a company like Riot. That could potentially be not really a full-on drop in the bucket for a company like, say, Capcom or, maybe NRS, but some of these Japanese developers, for example, it could be somewhat of a drop in the bucket, right?
Yeah, it could. But overall, for like the AAA, it's just like, why not?
Yeah.
At this point.
Oh, man.
Guilty Gear Strive Season 2. Hopes and thoughts. I know you just went over, your chip, what chip should do. Highly suggest you guys go watch that on Kensou's channel. But any other thoughts? Characters, system mechanics. What are we thinking?
I'm gonna just be an old head for a second.
Go for it.
Just put more Guilty Gear back in my Guilty Gear, please. Like, I'm hoping for more jump cancels. The little bit that they've shown off, they've showed like dash cancels, at least for Gold Lewis. So that leads me to believe that there might be some more dash cancellables in the game. Just who has them and what are the normals. It's clear, obviously, we're all tired of Happy Chaos, Ram, Leo, and stuff like that. So I'm hoping for some sizable changes for those characters. I'm not gonna hold you. Obviously, I want Chip to be better. I don't think he's bad right now. I want more consistency for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's good. I know a lot of people probably watch it and be like, he's already good. He doesn't need anything. Well, when Ram is doing dash cancelable records in my face, Leo's just having a ball dashing in my face. Yeah, I would love to have something that helps him not explode in a combo and a half.
It's discouraging. It's discouraging because, I mean, that was the dilemma I had with Strive. I played, and Zato is a good character. Zato's amazing. I'm a Zato player, and I was like, damn, I feel like a fool. I'm working too hard. When, Leo can just back turn and gets
have a
4
ball.
options. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, as I said before, and I love the GG series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Strive has been a very uphill battle as a longtime fan, because it's not necessarily just trying to find my footing. It's what do I need to do to win in this game? Because part of the issue I have with Strive is like, and it showed in their most recent developer stream, that there's essentially 2 teams working on this game. There's the Katano team, and then there's the Daisuke team. So it's kind of like there's a lot of conflict of interest in Strive, and I've noticed it since frame 1. Some characters have plus frames, some characters don't. For example, Soul Mash and Far Slash wasn't very cool back then. So it's kind of like I want more uniformity. I just want them to be more in line. Like I need their vision, their direction to be the same. I don't want them to be like, we want half the cast to have plus frames, the other half the cast don't have no plus frames, the other half of the cast or the other middle ground. All right, some of you guys can have some plus frames, but not really some plus frames. You may have to use a special move, maybe a super. Make it consistent, like I think there's also too many universal things. I think they need to just slow down with that and make more character specific things, because the problem with it being too uniform, it's like, well, I know you're gonna hit slash into crouching slash into standing heavy slash. Okay, we know that's the target combo, link, right? But can I have far slash into crouching slash? Can I have far slash into maybe 6P? Change it up, like add more Gatlings, like give us some more block strings to use, so I can be like, you thought I'd do that and now I frame trapped you with this, or you thought I'd do that and now I jump canceled here, or I dash canceled there. Like, open the game up. Mm-hmm. Like right now, Strive isn't the most freeform Guilty Gear that it could be. And I get it, it's season 1. We all know season 1 is always like the worst version of every game, right? Let's just be real. So I'm hoping season 2 opens up more of the game. And I mean, they haven't made a patch for 7 months. They better come with it. This isn't like, I hope it's not like the last time where they're like, we'll give you half a patch now, we'll give you half a patch later. Like, no.
No, whole thing.
I need you to overhaul the shit out of this game so that you can get and this isn't just for me. I want to let that be known, right? This isn't just for me, right? I want some of the older heads to come back. I want the newer players to feel good playing the game too, right? Because at the end of the day, in some ways, I feel like Strive, at least season 1, has robbed people of what Guilty Gear really is, if you want my honest opinion. And I get it, Strive's its own thing. Don't get it twisted. This isn't like, Strive versus the older games and Strive sucks. No, I'm glad that Strive's its own thing. But I want them to just be more mindful of adding things from the old games so that the newer players can get a feel for, like, not just a new Guilty Gear, but having some of the old things and feeling comfortable with the old and the new, like mixing that in. So it's like, like,
I don't even think that's a controversial thing, because I mean, you could quite objectively make the argument that Guilty Gear is I don't want to say less GG, because I don't personally know what that is. I'm sure
understandable.
I mean, I played Plus R, I played Xrd, I've looked at the move lists in those games, and then you look at, I mean, Baiken's the number 1 example for me. Like, Baiken's got 4 special moves, and then I'm on Plus R, and it's got like 2 pages, and I gotta I gotta write a whole research paper on this. Not really at all. But like, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh wow, like what
That's
happened?
a lot to work with. That's a lot to work with.
Not even like negatively, but just asking like, what happened here? Like,
yeah,
what's going on? I guess that goes back to our previous discussion about, I guess, like just transparency. It's like we just want to know what's going on, and I feel like you're right there. You want more GG. I would like to see what GG is.
That's it. And so many people ask me like, well, what exactly do you mean by that? And I show them the old games, and they're like, oh. I'm like, understand, and I'm gonna say this for your video too. Like, please understand this doesn't mean give me the old special moves. What this means is give me the freedom of movement. Give me the freedom of being able to attack in a sphere. Like, I said this to people all the time. In old Guilty Gear, this is a very good analogy, right? In Street Fighter, you fight like a box, right? You know the jump arcs. You know where you're going to get hit if they jump from this angle, etc., etc. Now, there are some specific changes in that. Like, if your character has a dive kick, like Yun or something like that, Guy, Bushin Flip, you have different ways to approach in that regard, right? But in Guilty Gear, like, you're fighting in a sphere. So, like, having more control over your jump arc, having more control over your run momentum. So, for example, if you run in neutral jump, you'll keep that run momentum. And your jump isn't as shallow, but it has a little bit of forward momentum. And then when you forward jump again, you still, that forward inertia is still held. So you can now attack and cross it from a different angle. Or that jump normal that would hit in front will now hit from behind. Or you're slightly outside of range of a 6P, or you're slightly out of range of an anti-air. So it adds another layer of the game for leaving the ground. Mm-hmm. It's not just, well, air dash on me and I'll just 6P you anyway, or what have you, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying it's 100% like that now, but having that extra layer of movement is what's missing in the game. Like, for me, it's just movement and jump cancellables. Like, I don't care that much about, for example, the number one thing every chip player says, why can't I have my teleports? Look, ArcSys does not want people to cry about chip teleporting. Trust me, they don't. I mean, Testament has a really good teleport, and that's already enough, right? It's already strong. So they give it to Chip, they're gonna be like, there's gonna be a lot of crying about it. That's why they made it, the alpha blades in there, they're like attacks, right? But having the ability to just, when I press standing heavy slash, am I gonna jump cancel? Am I gonna special cancel? Am I gonna do nothing? Am I gonna dash cancel? Like, the fact that you press this, so this is how I see it, right? It's creating options off of a single button. So if I press this button, it's like, what is it gonna be? Air dash, jump cancel, air dash back, air dash forward, jump, double jump. Like, and this is not even pressing an attack. This is just me pressing up. Or can I dash cancel? Okay, let's say it's a dash cancel button. Dash cancel. Am I gonna BRC? Am I gonna throw? Am I gonna dash cancel back dash to bait your throw? Am I gonna, like, there's an option. There's like, it's all about having branching options. What people don't understand about GG, they always think it's about having a bigger kit. It's not just about the kit being large. It's just the freedom of being able to move. So again, RAM, I press far slash. Am I gonna jump cancel? Am I gonna sword set? Am I gonna Rekka? Am I gonna Calvados? Am I gonna flip? Am I gonna dash cancel? Am I gonna throw you? Am I not gonna do anything? Am I gonna notice I named a bunch of different things off of just pressing one button.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want branching options. I don't want to just, I press far slash, well, sushi.
Yeah, I want the audience to imagine a flowchart real quick.
Yeah, basically.
And instead of just asking for another off of a move, just make more branches, guys.
That's it.
Make more branches.
That's it.
And
That's it.
You'll start to see more expression. You'll start to see a lot of different stuff that people have been asking for. So yeah, I mean,
that's all I want. That's literally all I want. More than anything else.
I guess it sounds great to me. We'll have to see. When it comes out on the, I believe it was the 9th or the 8th. Or the 8th is the
8th is the patch notes,
and then the 10th is when it. So that is Guilty Gear. Thank you for your thoughts on that. I guess we can switch over to KOF now. KOF 15.
Oof.
There's some obvious things. There's an elephant in the room. Where do you want to start?
I think this game is the best fighting game out. Personally,
oh, yeah.
I do think that's the best fighting game out. Like, if I had to be completely honest, I think it is. It does have its issues with matchmaking. I think this is the best SNK game released in a long time. I think that they hit the mark 100% on this game. They did, in my honest opinion, everything right. They did things that I think that fighting game companies should do more of. This is gonna sound nutty to say, but hear me out. I am happy that there is no story mode that's super engaging. And I know that's harsh to say because that's kind of an important thing for single player content. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and use Valorant. They tell the story through cinematics on YouTube. And why? And if you think about it, check it out. From a marketing standpoint, that actually makes sense. You know why it makes sense? When that video comes out, it makes them income. Google AdSense says hello. And then guess what? You can always go view that. You don't have to play the story mode. You don't got to go into the game. You just turn on YouTube and it's like, cool, I get to watch this cool cinematic. Riot makes money. So it's another way from a business standpoint to make income. And at the same time, keep people engaged without having to turn the game on, because guess what? You can turn this on at any given point in time. So I'm grateful for that. The game has like 40 some odd characters already. And it's kind of interesting to me that they've gotten this far with the game in such a short period of time. On release, 39 characters. I get it. They had the foundation of KOF 14 to work with. So of course they had time to balance things out and work on things. But they did something that was smart in the beginning. Hey guys, we're going to release this game later. We're pushing it back. Why is that? It's not good enough. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for telling me that you guys didn't think this was good enough. So we can wait. When's the projected release date? February of 2022. All right. Thanks for letting us know. You didn't release it during the pandemic because, well, it's still pandemic time, but they didn't release it earlier on in the pandemic because they realized that their rollback wasn't as good. And to my knowledge, they referenced Code Mystics, who did Mark of the Wolves and the other SNK games rollback, right? To get their rollback on point. So and 2 betas, rollback wasn't good, too good on the first one. Second one was spot on. They made it better on release, and it's like, all right, now they just need to fix the matchmaking. I think it's the one fighting game that people should be playing. If you're not playing Strive, you should be playing that, in my honest opinion, to be honest with you. I hope SNK does a circuit for it down the road, but at the very least, they're supporting the events. You know, they have their little event calendar thing that they've been doing and supporting events, so I think that's already good. I think they support with memorabilia on top of just announcing it. So that's still good. You know, it may not be monetary, but hey, if I can get like a Kyo hoodie, all right, I'm cool with that. Maybe like an Iori jacket. Yeah, like some kind of community support is good than none. I think Crispy Kaiser is their community manager. I think he does a pretty good job too. So, you know, just seeing that they're being more open and vocal about the game is good. They just need to fix the matchmaking and just get more people on board. And I think they got a good product on their hands, in my opinion.
I can see that. When I played KOF, I thought it was weird because it's obviously my first KOF. And I was like, this neutral feels weird. I'm gonna have to revisit it at some point for sure. But on the point of the story modes and stuff like that, you know, I sort of disagree with the point that it benefits from sort of not having like some sort of engaging or like, you know, complex like single player thing, right? Like cinematic, whatever. Because, and the only reason why is because it's $60. Balance free.
For sure.
And that's the only disconnect. I like the idea of a YouTube video and sort of that sort of marketing and promotions. But if I'm paying for a product, it's like, it's got to be there.
I need this. Yeah. I think, so I'll get into a little bit about why I've kind of gotten away from it. And now, mind you, I know it's a Street Fighter 6, but I'll get on that in a second. But the major reason why is a lot of the times, a lot of the casual players, and I mean super hard-bodied casual players, they'll buy the game, play the story mode, and then like there's no desire after that, right? So now this also comes into the pricing of the game too. So I'm gonna throw that out there. That's why I do think like a game like KOF shouldn't be 60. It should be like 40, maybe 40 at the least. Now, granted, there's a lot of production that comes into there, so that's understandable, right? Yeah. But it's just something like an Injustice, right? Like NRS does super robust story modes for sure. I think it's just what ends up happening is like I guess it turns into a typical game at that point, right? It turns into like a Sekiro, or not even Sekiro. That's super in depth, but to me, it feels like a Nintendo game, like a game that came out in the 80s. Like you beat the game, all right, that's it.
Put it on the shelf.
So it doesn't, because at that point there's no desire for that person to go any further with it outside of just playing the story mode. So, and I understand that there's the other side of the spectrum where there's people who will play the story mode and then go further with the game. But I'd be, how to put this? I'll be pressed to say that like there's a lot of YouTube videos that show the story mode. I know a lot of people that won't go play like say Metal Gear 4, but they'll watch a full-on cinematic on like, they'll watch all the cinematics on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that purpose is kind of already being held by people who, hey, I'll just show, here's a story mode cinematics, and obviously they get views off of it because they know people don't want to play the game. You know, so I feel like that's kind of where I'm at with it, and it took a little while for me to get over the story modes. They do well for sales. I'm not gonna deny that. But trust me, I definitely get reamed a lot for the single player stuff. Trust, because a lot of people do agree with you on that.
I see where you're going with this. Like I sort of agree, like I agree. Like
I'm with you.
The movie stuff, like you're watching a movie. That's a lot, basically what these are. And then like they'll sprinkle in a match or two, right? Obviously that quality needs to improve.
Yeah.
How sick would it be if there was a fighting game in which you could level up your character? And I'm sure that already exists somewhere. So like, guys, don't get on my case, okay? Like, just tell me in the comments. But like, where you can level up your fireball, and it's like, whoa, look at this. Now I have 2 fireballs that come out, and you know, some sort of like campaign, instead of it just being like, here is what is happening, and here's all the new lore that we came out with, guys. Yeah, like you can put that on YouTube. I'll watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's kind of like there are some fighting games that have done that, like Street Fighter Alpha 3 has World Tour mode where that actually is a thing. Virtua Fighter 4 Evo, pretty sure you've heard clamors about this from some other players too, but like it has a story mode where it's more like you as a player going to different arcades to play the better players at the different arcades. And they even have AI of some of the top players in the game when you get to the higher difficulties. So the game is basically training you to go out and go play.
That's cool.
So I think if the games take that approach, like Virtua Fighter 4 Evo, and that's on the PS2, mind you, and that's how long ago that is. So like I feel like if they took that approach, I'd be okay with that a little bit more. Or you do the Guilty Gear mode where you just watch a movie. Like I feel like the story mode, if it's more like Guilty Gear and or that, I'm cool with it. But part of what, so I'll give you the real meat and potatoes why I'm a little miffed about that sometimes. It's more so that like I feel like the problem is the story mode takes away a lot from them making a good game, because they've put a lot of resources into the story mode that balance and the game in itself becomes an afterthought. Then it's like, okay, well we've like, and I guess a prime example of that is Marvel Infinite. I think Marvel Infinite is what pushed me over the edge when it came to story mode, because first off, let's just put this out here. You install the game is like 70 gigs. You take out the story mode, shout out to the modders. You take out the story mode content, the game is like 18, 20 gigs at most.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they put all this effort into the story mode and didn't even touch the game. Sure, they made their balance patch and stuff like that along the way, but it's like, I think you should put 80-20, 70-30, 70-30 on making a good game, 30% on story mode and single player aspects, but more so the story mode. Having single player aspects, dope. I'll never take that away, especially when like it's something like a World Tour mode or what have you, which is looking like that's what's going to be in Street Fighter 6, right? But it's really that. It's really just that. Like I just feel like I've been so burnt with the story modes, because they, like Marvel Infinite is like the prime example of, hey, we made a story mode for our game so casuals can keep playing. It's like, dude, the tag mechanic is what makes this game ridiculous. But you guys put 80 gigs or so worth of story mode. Like, dude, this is not the wave. This is not the wave. So
definitely a scope problem. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we both
There you go.
agree that like
There you go. That's what it is. It's a problem with the scope of the game in that regard. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
We both agree that the fighting game is like the most important. Like 1000%. Make a good game first. Then, we'll come I'll get back to you on the story, Obviously, I want to know what these characters are and what they do and how cool they are. I don't need That's the funny thing about Marvel Infinite. It's like we already know who these guys are.
Right.
So like making a story mode, it's like not an absolute priority. Like, Infinite, like just scope problems. Scope problems,
dude.
just
here. And here for Lumi's audience, you see, we had a small myth here, and see how we got to the meat and potatoes here. So now we're on like the same page. It's not just I don't agree with you, so this, that, and the other. It's like, nah, you guys see? Very level-headed guy. I love to talk and get to the meat and potatoes, and so we can understand the perspectives, because like, you see, like, yeah, again, problem with scope. Dude, that's at the end of the day, it's problem with scope.
That's the thing I want to bring out of this community, man. I think that's one of the things that's missing is perspective. Like,
I agree.
You don't see that on Twitter. Fighting game Twitter isn't real, by the way, guys. Fighting game Twitter isn't real. Look me in the eyes. Fighting game Twitter isn't real. Okay. Like, if you like art, go on Twitter. There's some cool artists on there. Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, FGC Twitter is. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Problem with scope. Yes. It's definitely a problem with scope, you guys. It's really that. So don't get it twisted. I love having a good story mode. Don't get it twisted. But I just feel like NRS has set a standard that I feel that like the JP devs feel like they have to beat or something like that. And it's like, just do it like Guilty Gear if you really just want to do a story mode. Just like make a good cinematic universe where we just watch. Like, being able to watch story mode at your own leisure is great, And when that story mode is done, then that's it, I think Guilty Gear does have the right approach. Like, I don't want to sit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd rather just butter up some popcorn, get a drink, and watch my little cinematic movie for an hour. All right, and now I'm gonna go online and go beat some people up or something like that.
And then you go on to Injustice, and it's like, oh, my hands are all like, oily from the popcorn, and now I gotta play a match. I don't want to do that. Just skip. Go to the next part.
My favorite part, you play a match, and then there's like a requirement. Do 10 uppercuts. How am I gonna kill this guy with 10 uppercuts, man? Like, how do you want me to do that? Is he gonna jump every time? No, he doesn't. And the AI is like hard for no reason. It's like, dude, this is not engaging. I just want to see Superman blow someone up, dude. Just let me just click next.
Game's just now play Harley Quinn, and I'm like, okay, like
that's my point. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be sitting here like I've never played Harley Quinn a day in my life. I've never played I main Superman. I main Batman. But you want me to play Poison Ivy? You want me to play Static Shock? You want to play... I don't play these characters. But make sure you do the requirement. What's the requirement? Throw him till he dies. Bruh. And like the AI is on some like ridiculous stuff. And it's like... This is like, to me, that's why I get miffed about story mode. See, now we're getting really to the meat and potatoes. This is why I get miffed about it. Because I'm like, this is not engaging. Mm-hmm. That part to me is not engaging. This isn't 2006 where we played like even Guilty Gear's old story mode. Dialogue, play a match. Dialogue, play a match. Dialogue, now you're fighting Infinite Gold freaking Testament where he doesn't die, and this is not fun.
Yeah.
Like, you have to find a way to make it engaging. Like I said, I think that the best way to make it engaging is either the World Tour mode or what looks like it's gonna be in Street Fighter 6 or the Virtua Fighter way. Like,
yeah, that or a cinematic and just go all in on that. And like,
yeah.
Like, you're swaying me towards the cinematic stuff too, and when it comes to that, because there's certain opportunities that you can create from that. What if Guilty Gear gets so popular, it's like people want to see this on Netflix? Obviously, that's not going to happen, like, right now. But like, when you establish cinematics like that, people want to see more, and they want to see more and more and more, and then, the need for content outside of the game is so great that. I don't think it would take away from a game because it could just be an animation studio, not necessarily the devs that have to add this stuff into the same package.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I want them to take advantage of all marketing aspects that don't require you to be in the game. Like when ArcSys threw out all the story mode stuff on their YouTube and stuff like that, I'm like, yes, that's what we need. You need more. You need more of that. You need more of that so that people can just be like, oh, I can just go watch the extra story mode right here. Okay, cool. You know, I don't know. I think having exclusive stuff there makes it so, like I said before, it's always going to be like, yo, did you see that new Guilty Gear cinematic? Where was it? It's on YouTube. It's like, ArcSys is doing that? Yeah, dude, check it out. Like, that kind of stuff to me goes a long way. And I just feel like they're not using, I just don't feel like they're using all their marketing angles.
They have to be smart with it too, right? Because it's like they don't have like the Capcom budget, unfortunately. In my perfect world, every game has a world tour or like a virtual fighter. But
right.
We live in the real world, and stuff like that can happen. So I personally just see the latent potential in fighting games, and I just passionate, a little upset. So I'm like, guys, what the hell's going on? Like, get it together. Like, and I'm sure you're kind of on the same page with me on that. And
it's it's really, and this is a little extra with it, but it's really telling when, I'm not sure if you saw the most recent developer roundtable for the Japanese devs, but they're openly admitting that they're waiting for Riot to teach them how to do free to play. And it's like,
yep.
I hate to say it like this,
making fun of them too.
Now, here's where I get really, really, really sad or frustrated, because it's like, if you want my honest opinion, this is for you and your audience. Like, I feel like part of the reason why our genre has been gatekept is because these developers from Japan still are making games like this is like the 2000s. Like, arguably speaking, if you're stepping into the esports realm and doing all the stuff with esports, right, it would make the most sense to do actual market research. And this is something I tell in my stream all the time. Market research is the most important part, because if you're stepping into this realm, you need to be able to show investors, you need to be able to show the people who are going to invest into your company or your product, they need to see the value in it, right? Mm-hmm. And the biggest example of that, NA, EU, Korea, you know what I mean? China, like your own neighbors have esports written all over it. And the fact that their market research has shown very little in that regard is beyond me. I would say only really Capcom is doing it. I hate to say it that way, but only Capcom's really been doing it right with their Pro Tour, and they've made mistakes. And it raises the question, how is it that you guys have literally a fighting game company in your backyard that has made their esports and made mistakes that you can capitalize on and do better, yet you're making the same mistakes that they're making or being negligent towards it, and it doesn't make sense? You know, like, that ecosystem is huge. Or just look at the American ecosystem, you know, just try to figure out something. Now, it isn't to say that they haven't been trying, right?
Of course.
But the fact that they're scoffing, the fact that they were scoffing at Riot and just like,
it made me feel some type of way too. It made me feel some type of way.
It's like,
guys, you're not Fortnite. Like, you don't get to sit up on your mountain and be like, yes. Like, just take a look at what's out there. Even like not fighting game related, just take a look out there. Everyone was like so, sorry to bring it back up, but free to play. Everyone's so pissed off about free to play. Like, guys, it's been solved already. Apex has been doing this for years. Fortnite's been doing this for years. Look how successful those games are. Like, what makes you think we can't do that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm glad you said Apex. So let's throw this out here for a second.
Yeah.
I'm a Titanfall fan.
Uh-huh.
You know why there ain't no Titanfall 3? Apex makes money. Simple as that. I hate to say it that way, and I'm sitting here like, I will be 100% Apex Titanfall 3 player if Titanfall 3 was to come out. Thing is, Respawn gets it. They know they can make Titanfall 3 if they want to. But Apex pays in bills.
Also, like, cannibalize Apex if there's a multiplayer mode for Titanfall.
Yep.
So I get it there, man. I get it there. I used to play a bunch of Apex. Like, I think the season that Valkyrie came out, I might have to hop back on. I'm sure they've changed a lot of things.
I hate to say it this way, but it's the this is a funny thing, but this is the Guilty Gear Xrd retirement home.
Oh no!
Because all the Japanese Xrd players, they all play Apex.
Really? That's really interesting.
Just about all of them. Machabo plays Apex. Freaking, I think only Omido doesn't really play, but like one of the top chip players, two of the top chip players used to play. They're Apex players. Daiji plays Apex. Takehara plays Apex. Tomo plays it. Tomo, second place Evo placer with Leo against Omido, plays Apex. It is, and I'm like, did I start the wave? But then again, in Japan, Apex is a big. It's gotten a lot bigger in Japan. Like they really love that game out there. So
yeah,
it's not surprising. It's not surprising.
Yeah. Well, this has been super awesome. I want to get maybe one last thought. We got one last thing on the docket. Street Fighter 6. I know you haven't made any like you've done your reaction videos. So if you want to withhold information or maybe expand upon that in your own video, I totally understand. But some thoughts.
I'm gonna do it here. I got you.
Yeah.
I'll do it here.
Appreciate
thoughts.
That.
Thoughts
on Street Fighter 6.
That game looks sick. That game looks so sick. That game looks so sick. Like I have nothing but good things to say about that game. Dude, Capcom is doing what I think that they should be doing. Everything that I mentioned here just a second ago, they're doing exactly what I think they should be doing. Proper marketing, and just I'll start with the marketing since this is always my favorite part outside of the gameplay, right?
Yeah.
So notice what they did, right? They did their announcement, first announcement, CPT. They had their audience, right? Look at when the next announcement was. Not at Evo. State of play for PlayStation. How many eyes are on state of play at PlayStation? Way more than CPT. Way more than Evo. Yeah. So guess what? Hey guys, we're back with Street Fighter again. Here's what it looks like. Boom. And they slapped everyone in the face and was like, bam, Street Fighter 6. And it's like, y'all didn't do this for Street Fighter 5. Y'all did your big announcement at Evo, right? But here we are now. Street Fighter 6, state of play. Well over 1 million people watching between Twitch and YouTube. That did so much wonders for that game. Now, gameplay. Yes, the World Hub, I'm loving. Like now we're back on the single player stuff. I saw the World Hub, I was like, yes. It is your story as a player moving forward to, it seems like it's your story as a player to move forward to get better at Street Fighter. So it's kind of like
personifying fighting games into a story mode. Like the whole thing about Street Fighter was like, and this is sort of like, I guess, fighting games as a whole. It's like we're grinding to be the best. Like, like we're always on a journey to learn, and it's like, do that, yes. like
I'm loving this, and I'm loving it because they took. Oh man, like I love that they did this thing the most. They took a look at what Street Fighters were popular, and they put it all in this game. We all know the 3 series is big. Everyone loves the 3 series, especially Third Strike is always the one that always gets brought up. Everyone knows that. Everyone loves the hip-hop aesthetic of Third Strike. They modernized the shit out of Street Fighter 6 and was like, let's bring that back, but we're gonna put it on here with a twist. Now, some people feel some type of way about the theme song, I'm not gonna lie, but the fact that it's like modern hip-hop, modern pop, like they're just modernizing Street Fighter to the point to where it's not just like, I don't know, like it's just like the best parts of Third Strike, and for me, I love the whole graffiti thing, so I'm loving the paint splatters and stuff. I'm like, this is Street Fighter. Like to me, like I feel like Street Fighter 3 was Street Fighter. Like this is like the evolution of the series, and they did a good job of that, and they just put it all here. And now coming back to the World Hub, I'm loving the fact that it just feels like you as a player. It's like I said, it's like a homage to the scene. You coming up as a player, moving around the scene, maybe going, checking out other players or whatever, learning more about how to be a better fighter and whatnot. Like that is a good single player experience. I like that angle. That's a very good angle. And the fact that there's a big hub world, there's like, it just feels like it's going to be a very immersive game from a single player standpoint, even from the competitive aspect. So like, from the new control schemes, from the modern control schemes to the simple ways and to the classic. It's like they're putting everything possible in there to get people to play it. Even adding the community commentators, like
yes.
That's OD.
That's ridiculous.
That's OD. Like that is so, to me, that shows that they've been listening. And I've been saying this for a while now. I think a lot of people can agree Ono was in there kind of doing some real awkward stuff.
Yes.
But these two new dudes that they got here that came in on 5 that's doing stuff now with this, it's like they're
revolutionary.
They're doing it right. And I feel good now. Like, as someone who used to support Capcom super heavy, now I support them on their single player games, right? Street Fighter and their fighting games has been kind of questionable. But now with these dudes here, it's like they've paid attention. Like, I have a meme on my stream. Fill out the feedback forms and we'll get back to you. So the meme here is they actually, so we heard your feedback and now here's Street Fighter 6. I'm like, this I can get behind. This looks like, man, their heart is in the right place. Obviously it's there to make, it's still a business, obviously they gotta make money, but they've put, even from the mechanics, I'm like, hold on, so let me get this straight. Focus attack, parry, alpha counter. No one can complain about defensive options. Nobody.
And a V
right?
reversal as well.
Yeah, well, the alpha counter, right? So it's like, hold on. Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter Alpha.
And now you have Street Fighter 6 Drive Rush, which is a whole new thing. Drive cancels, or dash cancels off of certain normals and parries, which is like expression already exists in a game that hasn't come out yet, because you can just choose how to use your meter. There's pretty much an equal amount of offensive and defensive options than meter on. And then you also have the super meter, which is by itself, which was basically a third strike thing, right? I'm sure there's other Street Fighters that done it before that, but Street Fighter 3 is the first one that's like you can hold stocks of like your ultra, and it's like, whoa, like yeah.
So I'm like, how is it now? Granted, I'm not gonna front. This is for your audience and even for you. As a Guilty Gear player, I'm like, so let me get this straight. You didn't sacrifice the integrity of Street Fighter and added all this depth. But my game that has all the depth, I pulled it away. And Capcom was like, hey, you know what? Nah, we're gonna run that back. We're gonna give you everything. And I'm like, this game has exactly what I want in a fighting game. The movement looks good. The pacing looks good. The combos look fun. I think the camera's a little too zoomed in, but I know why they're doing that. They want people that are watching this from a viewership standpoint to really understand what's happening on the screen. Yeah. Right? Which is a big thing with Strive 2. Like, the models are super huge. The camera's pretty much for the most part zoomed in, but I think if they zoom out a little bit more, it'd be fine. But I'm loving everything about it. I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is the future. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I feel like Street Fighter 6 is exactly the future of fighting games. And for what it's worth, I've said this on my stream too, Capcom's preparing for war with Riot. They're like, nah, we're coming out first, and we're coming out swinging. Because there's no release date for Project L, right? So Capcom's like, we won't get the ball rolling. Because it's just the amount of people that like Project L or like League of Legends is a lot bigger than Street Fighter overall. Like, the overall audience for League of Legends is large, right? But this right now coming out before it, and this isn't really too much of a war, right? But like, this is their way to be like, hey guys, Street Fighter 6 is here. It's on everything. There's no, it's on PC and PlayStation only. They're on Xbox, they're on PlayStation, they're on PC. If they get right with the lag stuff, like they say that they are on Sony, then, dude, like, this is perfect. Like, I gotta say it, like, Capcom's, they're just doing it right. I have, as you can see, I'm like a giddy, like, schoolgirl here with this game. I'm like, I haven't been this excited. I haven't been excited for a fighting game in a long time. And don't get me wrong, I was excited for Strive too, but like, this is a different level.
Bro, I watched the trailer like 5 times yesterday, and like another like 3 today. Like, I'm down bad. Dude, I'm down horrendous right now.
Dude, the aesthetic. Dude. I
need this game on my desk tomorrow. Like, I need it now, man.
My favorite thing so far, and it's a very minor thing. I loved it when they showed Luke and Jamie, new main, I loved it when they were walking out together. It's like, what's up, everybody? Yeah, we here. It's a Street Fighter. What's going on? And
like,
I think,
like, yeah, like,
yeah, I'm like, dude, this is like, it's live, dude. Like this,
soul.
Like Street Fighter 6 is that game is woke. That game is alive. Like you play that, it's like you feel good. Like I see it and I'm like, and even though I saw a little versus screen with like Chun and Ryu, and I'm like, all right, Capcom, you got me. I'm here. When this drops, I'm here. Say less. Like the other thing too, also I see for this game, as wild as it may sound, Street Fighter 6 looks like it's gonna have the ecosystem that's required, not just for pro players, but for content creators as well. I see it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that game's gonna have too much to talk about, and having too much to talk about is not a bad thing at all.
What makes you come to that conclusion? Is it a hunch, or is it more so based off of a couple of things you've seen in the trailers?
Their marketing.
Yeah, just the marketing. I mean, it's a powerful thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm just trying to understand. You know.
Okay. It's just so it trails back to CPT when they first announced it. If you look at how their overall presentation for the last CPT has been, you can see that they're really personifying their esports realm.
Yes.
Right. Yes. You can also tell by their patch notes, their transparency about things. It's like, dude, I see the vision. Are you going to deliver with this game? And again, putting this out on State of Play, that trailer has mad Easter eggs. I think of it this way, right? They made a trailer with an immense amount of Easter eggs. So who's not going to be... YouTube's flooded with videos right now talking about Easter eggs, and it's only been like a day and a half.
The game World Tour comes out, and maybe it's like the actual open world that it's shown. Imagine the amount of stuff you can find in that too.
So their open world hub thing seems really dope because I'm cool with how they're going with, like I said earlier, but I also see them adding more to it to keep the single player experience there, right? So if you don't, so maybe there'll be like, I mean, the leaderboards for this, leaderboards for that,
fingers crossed,
in-game tournaments. Like it's just, I'm seeing they're having the ability. Okay, again,
guys,
come back to
the subway for the underground tournament that we're gonna run.
Coming back to their marketing for a second, think about it. During State of Play, the website was up. The Twitter was up. They had everything on launch to go. Guilty Gear Strive, unfortunately, even at the Evo announcement, they didn't even have the freaking logo done. And they admitted to that. I'm like, but Street Fighter 6, logo's ready. Gameplay's ready. Freaking 2 trailers. Like, the Twitter was ham. And I mean, when I say Twitter, they had... These are the system mechanics, and this is this, and this is that.
Immediately we're posting stuff. They even, and I don't want to really touch too much on this, because I know there's some people that don't appreciate that stuff. I'm not really a big fan of leaks myself, but they even had a statement about leaks. They were like, hey, you guys saw a lot you weren't supposed to see, so that's unfortunate. But just to have something like out there in a statement is like...
it speaks volumes.
It does. It does.
Like, they're like, hey, you know what? We know you saw it, but we're gonna roll with it. We know it sucks. It's like Capcom just letting it rock. They're like, look, it's here. All right, it's here. Like, we know, you know, we're still gonna deliver. It's like, okay,
as long as you deliver.
I'm just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just when you think about it, it's there's just so much here with this game. Like, from talking about the characters, talking about the aesthetics, the world, the single player experience, like, it's just the fact that I feel like this game is going to do what every esports game already does, tell stories about players. Like, I can see it. Like, one of the biggest things that they did, if you notice with CPT, was how, like, the Brian F show with Rob
TV.
No
Neutral.
Yeah. Like, talking about players, talking about different aspects of the game, building storylines, you know, like talking about
the
players.
International scene as well, which was something that I wasn't really woke to, I must say. I did not know there was a Puerto Rican player playing Fang, which, you know, is cool to me because I'm Puerto Rican. So to see that representation is just like, what? Like, it's overall like, I guess the statement here is just the future's bright, huh? Like, it's just...
I see it. I see it. Even even if not by way of patching and things like that, but like just seeing people's different play styles, that brings up a way to talk. Because I mean, that's even a thing in like League of Legends, right? People talk about different Akali players or different these players or those players, and it's like the differences in the regions. Like, there's so much there for the content creator to talk about. So even if you're not a pro player, you can always do like a highlight on like, oh, let's take a look at Smug's play style or whatever. The difference between his Dudley and let's say Kokujin. You know, they go for these things, they go for that things. And I mean, you could do that even now, right? But I feel like since the game is more energetic, the game is, dare I say it, I think this is going to be the game that people are really going to want to watch, because it's very, like, the game is very in your face. So like,
and it seems to be a lot more expression, which is, I mean, arguably something 5 doesn't necessarily have a lot of. I mean, I look at other Karens play and they're just doing what I do, but they do it better and more consistently.
Yeah, they're more efficient at it.
Yeah, they're just better players, essentially, and that's what makes them, you know, unique, quote unquote. But I think that drive system is going to make waves. Specifically.
One thing people forget is, I think Washige is still on their team, and Washige is a Guilty Gear player. He helped push the battle design for 5. Now, that's why like that drive cancel definitely screams Guilty Gear, right? But like the neat thing is everything is tied to that drive meter. So like your choices are your choices. Your temperament in that matchup is your temperament in that matchup, versus like essentially it's like Guilty Gear, because Guilty Gear you actually learn 2 characters despite learning 1. You learn the system. You got to remember the system is a character. Right? Yeah, 1000%. So when you get good with the system, so it's like now you can really, this is a bad matchup. All right, well, like I drive parry to deal with this, or this is a bad matchup. I have my focus attack to deal with this, or this is a bad matchup. I can play around this with this.
Or I don't have enough drive to get in on this zoner. I need to parry this fireball to afford the drive rush, because I don't have 3. I only have 2 meter. That means I have to parry this fireball to rush in. And it's like immediately. And then there's counterplay behind that. If you're a zoner and you know they have to do that, then you can account for that. And it's like,
you see,
the foundation
now you see why?
is there. The foundation is there. Why? Yeah.
You get it now? This is why I say there's going to be a lot to talk about, because a player's decision making is now going to be more of, the game is going to be more about decision making than just simply, oh, this is a bad matchup. Like, Geef being able to walk up and like parry Sim's limbs, for example, that's kind of scary if you think about it.
That is scary if the Geef player's cracked, like out of their mind, right? Yeah.
So like typical bad matchups that would be seen as like, even you like Sagat versus Geef, that's like 10-0, you know, more or less.
Yeah. But
you're adding more defensive mechanics and more ways to get in. That changes a matchup that used to be 10-0 to 6-4, maybe a 7-3. 7-3 is still pretty bad, but 6-4 means we're in winnable position, you know?
Yeah.
We're not in like a 10-0 matchup. Like, nah, it's now about player decision and, like you said, player expression. So the future's bright with this game. Like,
future's bright.
It's just I see the system and I just can't help but just crack the biggest of smiles. I'm like, I can't wait to play Jamie my way. I can't wait to play, you know, Ryu my way, or Chun my way, like, or the current characters in the game. I can't wait to play them my way, or whoever they add, you know, maybe Jury or something. Play her my way, you know. Now there's no, I can't play this my way, you know, or like I have to play like, you know, said player. You don't have to do that now. Now it's officially me versus you with my tools. So
Kensou versus Lumi. Let's run it, dude.
Dude, hey, frame one. Frame one. Let's hey, you want to do it for the content? I'm with you. Let's go. I'll do it. First to 10, first to 5, first to tap out, whatever you want, baby. I'm with you.
I got you. Kensou, very well said. I thoroughly enjoyed this discussion, but
absolutely, me too.
We're running out of time. You know, let the audience at home know exactly where they can find you and follow you.
Easy. You can follow me on Twitch at ShinKensou. You can follow me pretty much ShinKensou everything. Twitch, Twitter, TikTok. It's just Kensou though, but actually the word just and Kensou. But yeah, I'm on those 3 places all the time, especially Twitch. So check me out there, and look forward to having you guys. Lumi, thanks for having me. This was a very fun discussion. Anytime you want me again, I'm here, brother. You just let me know.
1000%. Can't wait to see you again. Until then, take care.